Hello, everyone. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Emily.
And we are the hosts of the I Don't Think So podcast. Each episode, we discuss a different story, theory, or mystery and decide if we think it is believable or if we really don't think so.
Here at the I Don't Think So podcast, we are affiliated with Flurry Sports. And we present our theories on your favorite place to listen to podcasts every single Wednesday. So if you like what you hear, go ahead and give us a like, a share, follow us on all of our socials at I Don't Think So _EH, or check out our YouTube page at IDTS Conspiracies.
Definitely check it out.
Check it out, check it out.
Check it out, check it out.
You know, we have pretty much the same content over there. But maybe there's new stuff. Maybe we'll find
There is. We've been updating it weekly.
Yeah, check us out.
Excellent. So we're wrapping up the month of April, which is very exciting.
Woo.
I think we've gotten some good traction on our Reddit stories, just
so.
or appreciation maybe, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I like hearing people be like, "Oh my god, I have a story for you." After we talked about like our roommate stories or our fart stories,
Love
or anything like that. They're like, "Do you remember the time you did this?" And I'm like, "Oh."
It kind of brings up some past trauma, but also it's a good chuckle every time.
It's a good time to laugh.
Yeah. So as we're wrapping up our last episode of Reddit stories, I thought just a good like full circle moment would be people sharing just generalized embarrassing stories.
Oh,
just so we can all feel some sense of like reassurance that, you know, we all have our moments.
you're not alone.
We can have a good chuckle about them. People put these out on the internet knowing they wanted people to laugh at them.
You're braver than me. I will say I do a podcast. So I don't know if you're that much braver than me, but I do this under the guise that I don't tell a ton of people I do this.
And we're not sharing necessarily all of our own dirty laundry.
Yeah, sometimes we get a little too extra sharing. And then we cut this down, like we get off here, and I'm like, why did I say that?
Yeah, but today we get to just share other people's embarrassing stories. And it started with this first post. And it's captioned, "Tell me your embarrassing stories, please."
Perfect.
So, the writer says, "My company party was last night, and I bombed at karaoke.
Oh.
So, like any normal human being, I feel like my life is over, and I want to die.
Same.
Tell me your embarrassing stories so I can summon the willpower to get out of bed, please." And by bed, I mean the couch, because I'm too embarrassed to actually go to bed.
Honestly, if you're at if there's karaoke going at a work party, don't do it.
And so this is an edit based on that, and says, "Oh man, I put down my phone yesterday to take a mental health break from social media, and it's so great to see all of these stories. I'll be reading all day. Thanks so much for lending me some secondhand embarrassment, y'all."
Perfect.
So that is the prompt for today's episode. Some of them are a little shorter, some are a little longer, but all of them will give you enough secondhand embarrassment to last a lifetime.
Honestly, I do a lot of like quote unquote embarrassing things all the time.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I just exist and I'm like, well, that was
I think what was the worst part for me is reading some of these. I was like, oh, I have had that moment.
Yeah.
And it's bringing up some things.
But like my secondhand embarrassment is so high that like there's so many movies and shows I can't watch.
Yeah.
Because I'm viscerally so embarrassed.
Like you couldn't watch The Office for the longest time. I know you've watched some episodes.
I watch some now and I enjoy it more now. I've gotten a little better at it. But yeah, there was definitely some times in there.
I think what's hard is the first season.
The first season was awful.
Is the worst out of all of them. Like the other ones definitely have moments, but definitely the first season is just like uncomfy.
Yeah.
But it's still fun.
Yeah. I think everyone now is like, if you're gonna watch The Office, just skip season
1. Oh, for sure.
And if I would have known, I would have. Yeah, first the whole season 1, my whole body was pins and needles, and my chest hurt.
Here's one to bring up some middle school trauma
Oh,
for you.
no. Okay, good.
I've got a good one for you. All the way back in middle school, used to run around with a few degenerates, my best friends even now. We were from a small town and would constantly just walk around town for entertainment. We would stop at the gas station in town for snacks and drinks. One time there was this cashier working that I had a super crush on. I went to pay for my snacks and she told me the total. For whatever reason, I thought I'd be a badass and slap my money on the counter and say the line, "Keep the change."
Oh no.
It was only then that she informed me that I was still 10 cents short. My friends and I still laugh about the story every now and then.
Oh. Oh no.
Like, it's not terrible.
It's not bad, but also
That'll keep you open night.
That's one of those ones you like walk out. You're like, you try and laugh, but you're like right on the edge of tears. Like, don't laugh. You know, I send you TikToks all the time.
Yes.
It's like me and my tankini at 10 walking past the 20-something-year-old lifeguard.
Oh,
I've got it. And you know what? That was me.
the worst part is around this time of year, I always get the memories of us going on like vacations together as children. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And like, just to see the memories of us taking pictures together in middle school and even high school is just.
Why did you post that? Like, just today we were on a trip like maybe 10 years ago, and I posted the blurriest photo of us at Hershey's factory, and it was like,
why?
Take that on, friggin' rock.
Your shitty ass iPod Touch.
iPod Touch that I had to wait till we got back to the hotel
to
get
post
Wi-Fi.
Yo, yeah, absolutely, 100%. Because we didn't have free Wi-Fi places at that point. Oh, here's another one. I was at work having a poop, and I thought I locked the door. But I guess I didn't, as for some odd reason, a female member of staff just comes walking into the men's bathroom. It's just a normal one with one sink and one toilet, not one with a separate cubicle. So technically it's labeled the men's, but it's a single stall.
It's a single stall.
Anyways, this girl walked in, not really sure what she was doing, but yeah, I was sitting there with my trousers around my ankles, legs spread, phone in hand, midway through having my poop. I had no clue what to do or say, so me, being dumb, casually just said, "You all right?" Before she quickly left. Thankfully, she shut the door behind her because I could hear her laughing and telling another person not to go in there.
Oh, what a beautiful response. I'm sure it was mortifying for everybody involved. But even when I'm like, so you knew this, but at the hospital I worked at, none of the doors, okay, all of the doors are locked at all times based on like the population we have. But everybody who works there has a key
to get into any of the rooms.
So basically everything's locked, but nothing's off limits. So even the bathrooms, and this bathroom that was a staff bathroom might as well have been an airplane bathroom. It was so small. But every time someone knocked, because you had to knock, because again,
you could just open it.
Anyone can open it.
Then you can't lock it from the inside.
There's no inside locks.
Right.
And I remember every time someone knocked, you're like,
it's a terror.
What do you say? Because like,
just a second. You always have to pull the just a second, like it's only, and then you're like moving and grooving. You are. I'm
in this thing. I don't know. Yeah, it's just funny. I want to know what everyone yells when you're in the bathroom and someone knocks.
Oh, I'm a just a second gal.
Oh, good for you. I'm like, I'm in here. There was one guy who every time like sang it and he was like, occupied.
You know, I feel like that's more confident. I just need a confident like occupado.
Every time I just like, hello.
Or just like grunt.
There's definitely been times I just yelled.
Oh. You're like, ooh, we gotta give her a second.
Someone's in there.
Oh, this one hurt me a little.
Oh no.
Because it's a story about someone who was in elementary school.
This is your life every day.
It is. And this one, definitely based on the story I told you today, is going to really hit home. So, this one time, I must have been in like 4th or 5th grade, we had these little mail cubbies in the front of the room for graded papers or artwork, notes to take home, etc. We took turns filing the mailbox every morning, and it was my day, and obviously, it's a big deal. Despite the fact that my bladder had the pressure of a fire hydrant. I ran into class to fill the cubbies. Right on the last row, everybody in class, and listening to the morning announcements at this point, I pee a lot in front I was devastated. Everyone laughed. And I just didn't want someone to take my turn on male duty if I was late.
Oh, that's such a bummer. I mean, being yourself in school is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I think it probably happened at least to everyone once,
Mm-hmm.
and it burns. You know, it's like, well, I'm never doing that again. You know?
No.
Oh my god, but that's such a real. If I'm not in there, someone's gonna
Take my male turn.
And this is big news.
And you have to wait now 20 days to get to your rotation again? That's devastating.
That is devastating. I don't blame you, kid.
I wouldn't either. Another one. I've got quite a few, but they're just also good.
Yeah.
Years ago, I was temping as an administrative assistant to a CEO of a very small company. The CEO was super religious and started and ended every meeting he was involved in with a prayer. One day, I put on a long skirt of mine for work. It was very pretty, long black velvet with roses. I got dressed, slapped some heels on, and went to work. First thing that morning was a meeting run by the CEO and featuring the whole company. I sat down to listen. Unfortunately, in the middle of the meeting, my cell phone went off loudly. The CEO turned to me with an angry look, and I said, "Sorry, I'll take this out in the hall," and I stood up. What I didn't know was that my heels had come down on the hem of my skirt. So when I stood up, down came the skirt in front of everyone. Worse, I was wearing the ugliest pair of granny panties ever.
At least you're wearing granny panties. You don't have
The
coverage.
CEO was not happy.
Oh my god. At least you're granny. You know, granny panties got some coverage on. Could you imagine you're in your real religious CEO's office and you've got like a G-string on?
Mm-hmm.
I'm mortified. At least you're wearing underwear. What if you weren't wearing underwear?
Well, that leads us into our next my wife's best friend comes over for a girls' night. They stay out late and her friend stays over. The next day, she has a golf tournament with her work. She's a little hungover, but overall okay, but realizes she can't really go into work in the same clothes from yesterday. She borrows an outfit from my wife, but the pants are tight, like barely wearable. She decides to give herself a bit of breathing room, so she goes commando.
Oh, it's not going to help. I don't know what to tell you.
Later that day, she's on the golf course with her boss and her entire team. She hits a super long putt, and everyone cheers.
Oh, no.
She decides to attempt a cartwheel in celebration and rip. Huge tear down the seam. She flashes the entire company, and they called her Beaver for the rest of the year.
No. Why a cartwheel, man? Like, what is
You know what?
jump? I don't know.
I feel like it was inevitable.
She said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it upside down. Beaver? Can you imagine?
No.
I'd be like, every one of you has to die.
I'm changing my name.
And moving.
Like, this person is dead.
Because you know, after they stop calling her Beaver, every time someone goes golfing, sees a Beaver,
They tell that story.
hears about a pants rip, whatever, that story comes up.
Oh,
you
100%.
are memorialized forever.
You know, there's a lot of secondhand embarrassment in this episode.
I thought you were going to say there's worse things. I was like, is there?
No, I don't know if there's worse things. Okay. Oof, duh.
That makes me feel better every time I miss a long putt.
No, kid.
There's more
Honestly,
embarrassing things that happen on a golf course.
after a long putt.
After a long putt,
Oof, duh.
I could rip my pants and flash the entire place I lived in.
That's what's worse. It wasn't like with this family.
Oh, I don't want my family to.
I know, but like imagine if you're or like friends. If
Friends.
You're out golfing, friends,
If it was
family,
with
whatever.
friends, it'd be like
We're
one
golfing
day
for work. That's worse.
with your boss there.
Ugh.
Boss knows.
Your boss is calling you Beaver.
HR is calling you Beaver. That's bad.
Okay. This one's a little more somber.
Oh no. Oh good. We'll bring it down.
years ago. I'm so sorry. I'm pulling a Pete husband where you just start laughing before the story comes out.
Or you tell the joke.
Okay. Years ago, I very nearly fell into the grave at a funeral. I went to throw some dirt in, but failed to notice how muddy and wet it was, despite the fact that we had torrential rain.
Oh no.
I slipped and was holding my umbrella to shield myself from the rain, so my balance was all over the place. My mother bellowed my name at the top of her lungs when she saw what was happening, which of course just drew everyone's attention to me.
No. God, that'd be my nightmare. Can you imagine falling in on someone's grave?
No.
I'd be like, firstly, so quickly, I'd be like, get me out of this hole. I'd be yelling. And secondly, I'd be like, maybe you just bury me.
Maybe you just lay me down in there. If you actually fell, that would be bad.
Yeah.
Like we're at Granny's funeral and you fall on top of her casket.
I would honestly, I'm not a fan of dead bodies, shockingly. I would throw up. I'd be so gross. I would think it worse. It would go from bad to worse. Everyone would be like, oh, Emily fell in. And then all you hear is me be like, bleh.
Oh my God. That's when you just start during
and then I say, just bury me.
Okay, next. Another middle school story.
Honestly, I feel like middle school is just bad for so many of us.
Oh, it's bad. I was running late for the bus in middle school because I was late, and the bus was at the stop already. This happened often to me. Well, I was running, and I tripped and fell and rolled on the ground a bit in front of the bus that was almost full. So all the kids sitting in the window, getting on the bus, saw me fall. I get up, and my clothes are completely dirty and dusty. So I have to do the walk of shame back home, change, and then just get a ride to school.
Oh.
Once I got to school, some of my friends that were on the bus were asking me what happened while telling the story to anyone who asked. I sometimes think about it randomly and cringe really hard. I felt like dying while I walked back home.
I should have the sense to turn around and go home. Like, I think if it was me, I literally would have been like, well, I guess I'm dirty for the rest of the day.
No kidding. I would not turn around. I would just brave it.
I'd get on the bus and sit down. I'd be like, oh my God. Maybe no one will notice.
Or like you don't show up that day.
Yeah, I'm not going to school.
Yeah, no. There's no in between.
I'm going home and breaking my own finger.
This one would have been a good one for our first date story, maybe.
Perfect.
But it's still perfect. There was this girl I liked in my class in university. We started kind of hitting it off, and I was crushing on her hard. The first time we kissed, I was shaking and absolutely mind blown. She was also the first smoker I had ever kissed. The joy I felt in the smoke, it reminded me of times when my dad would come home after a long time and give me a hug.
What?
So naturally, as soon as our lips separated after a long kiss, the first thing I say out loud in this brain fog of happiness is, "You taste like my dad."
What are you doing? No. No.
Can you imagine being kissed and then the guy pulls back and says, "You taste like my dad"?
My jaw.
We're never talking.
My jaw would hit the floor, and then even as he's trying to backtrack, I'm like, "Oh my God, I got a call. I gotta go," and then we would never speak.
Never.
I would sit by you in class. I'd pretend we.
I would drop out of the class. We would be done.
I would pretend I didn't know you. If I couldn't drop out of the class, I'd sit in a completely different spot, and I would pretend we've never spoken, and we never will, because who the hell? Also, who's kissing someone and being like, "You remind me of my father"?
No one logical. It was awful.
I understand. Like, I could get being like, she smells like cigarettes. My dad smelled like cigarettes. That's fine.
You don't need to verbalize
You don't need to say, like, I was really excited, and I remember my dad came home, that would make me excited, and he smelled like the way you smell. So you break lips and you say,
you taste.
You taste like my dad.
And not even smell.
Why would you say you smell like my dad?
Smell, not good.
Because did you taste your dad? How do you know what your dad tastes like?
I don't know. Smell would be bad enough. Taste, unforgivable.
Taste is one of those things that you're like, taste and feel. If you would have said that you feel like my dad, I would have places to be. And you,
especially after a kiss.
Yes. Again, if it was a hug,
still not good.
Not good. I still probably wouldn't talk to you if you said, like, oh, you feel like my dad.
Oh, we're breaking up. But
it's better than a kiss to say you taste.
Yeah, that verbiage is not great. Woofda.
Did he say that they ever talk again?
Nope, there's no updates.
Oh.
And honestly, there was like a little reply from someone saying, I'm sorry, my dude, but this is my favorite one.
Oh my goodness.
This one I found a little too relatable.
A little too close to home.
I haven't had this exact experience, but I understand where this person is coming from.
Okay.
So, I went to get a haircut today, just to trim. And the hairdresser decided to cut it dry. She started chopping away, and I started to worry, but I didn't want to say anything. And I just kept getting more and more worried, and more tears started welling up. And she noticed. So I lied and said I was on my period and stressed out about work, but actually I was just horrified by the state of my haircut.
What the fuck?
It would have looked better if I just cut it myself. She bought my story and said she'd pray for me. So yeah, I practically have a mullet now, and I cried to a stranger in a hair salon today. Pretty embarrassing all around. And then someone replied, just chop the rest off if you don't want the mullet and turn it into a nice short haircut. And don't ever return to that hairdresser. I've been there where you're getting that haircut. I've also been there be like, I'm on my period.
So the one time I did Lots of Love, which I did not have enough hair for. Thought I did not.
I mean,
but I was convinced I could do it. So
technically, there was enough.
I mean, yeah, technically. And I actually didn't have enough for Lots of Love, so I had to do the Pantene.
Oh,
Lots of Love is like 8 inches or 10 inches, and Pantene's 8.
Yes.
Whatever. And so they did that, and it was. She just kept cutting and cutting, and she took off the first 8, and I was like, "Oh, I've made a horrible mistake," but and I cried. It was like, "It's okay, it's okay." It was so short, Hannah. It was just below my earlobes.
Oh, I remember.
Just below my earlobes. I couldn't put it up in a ponytail. I played sports all through that time, and I couldn't put it in a ponytail. So I literally had a bob. I was playing like basketball. Oh, I cried. I was horrified, and I had really big side bangs. It was like, whomp.
Oh God. I've got 2 more stories for you.
Oh, I'm so excited.
This one I also felt related a little bit too much. Because we've all been there doing something stupid in public. So, it starts with, I was feeling myself a bit too much. And I regrettably started dancing in a public toilet. Like they're in the mirror just dancing to themselves, you know?
Good for you.
It was 6 a.m. and I was quite sure no one would see me. And then someone saw me, and it was someone I knew.
Oh!
And then I died inside. So I went into a stall, and when I came out, they were still there. And I made small talk trying to play it off. Writing this makes me want to never go out in public again. I hope you feel better. Life is better when it's more colorful.
That's right. If you're not going to be embarrassed at least once, did you actually live? I can't say I've ever done that. I've done some stupid shit.
I've definitely been like in the mirror doing something stupid, and then all of a sudden someone's like watching you.
And you're like, oh. You know, I mean, like, I've done so much stupid shit. But like, where all of a sudden you're like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Have I ever danced in a mirror? No. Not in public.
I'm sure I have.
Maybe I was drunk. But everyone's dancing in the mirror.
I don't think I was drunk. I think I've just done it like,
In public?
Yeah. If you don't think anyone's in there? I've definitely done
I
it.
like turn around and make sure everything looks fine from the front and the back, but like
I've definitely made some weird poses in the mirror and been like, oh no. I think the worst part is like, why'd they stay? If you witness someone doing that, you do them the common courtesy of leaving.
Or staying in a stall until you know they've left.
Oh, 100%. Oh,
That person's not nice.
And our last one.
Oh, perfect.
This is a little sports related one to throw a little to our
editors.
Yeah, there you go. It is baseball related, so Zach won't like it, but that's okay. And it doesn't have to do with the person, but it was still really, really funny. Not embarrassing for me, but I get in my car to run to the store one night, and the baseball game is on the radio. Whatever, good enough, I'll leave it on. The announcer belches mid-word as he's delivering an advertisement for some betting website. Head on over to play. It sounds like his insides tried to stage a prison break, followed by like 5 intensely awkward seconds of dead air, and I was crying.
Can you imagine? No. That's incredible. I've had a few of those belches that like gurgle up out of nowhere, and it's like
someone's like, he was drinking carbonated water before
he drinking like a pop, and he's like, this is just fine, no need to fear. And then he like go to da 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 da. It's like,
and then like, what do you do? Like, I've been there where you just have those long, awkward moments of silence now because, like,
you have to formulate what your next move is because you don't know.
Like, do we just move on? Like, no.
Do I call attention to it? Do I leave it where it lies? Nothing.
There's no right answer in that situation.
No. Because I personally know I'm the person who
I would be like, excuse me.
I'd say something immediately afterwards, and it would probably make it worse. 100%. But I would try really, really hard to just be like, oh, what are you doing?
It happens to the best of us.
I'd be like, sorry. Try and move on. Makes me think of the time. Oh, God, you've heard this story. This, again, why do I say things out loud? But, like, there was one time I was young, probably, like, middle school, like, mid-middle school, 6th, 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was showing steers at the fair. And we were in this big old meeting with, like, a ton of people. We're all there trying to talk about cattle. I don't even remember what the meeting was about. We were way in the back. I had to fart. Little did I know it was it was so loud, and I got beet red, and it was so loud that everyone turned around. And instead of just looking around or saying whatever, I say, that was my shoe. Mind you, I am wearing Adidas slides with no socks. It was not my shoe. I had so many better options of lies, and everyone went, oh. My cousin Aaron's our cousin Aaron's a few rows ahead of us. He was like, Jesus Christ. And I was ready for the ground to swallow you. And my dad goes, your shoe, my ass.
You had no backup.
And we were the last row. It was clearly no one behind me. I couldn't turn around. It was so embarrassing. I'm talking about it to this day. I'm like, I distinctly remember it happening, it being loud, and everyone, it was like a movie. Everyone turned around. It's like, instead of just being quiet and like, nothing happened. I was like, in case anyone was confused, it was me. It was my shoe. Oh my God, I was ready to just about die. Then we left, and my dad still talks about this. He's like, that's when I knew my daughter was full of shit. It was like,
Anything for a good bit.
They looked at me too. Like, they weren't even going to help me pull the past somebody. Everyone in that goddamn meeting, all 100 people, were like, no.
That Emily, she's gas.
I was full of raised my hand and said, it was me.
I ate blah, blah, blah for lunch.
Oh my God. I'm so embarrassed. Oh, you can talk about it now to this day. I'm like, God. Thank you, Aaron. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. It'd be your own people, you know?
No kidding. Don't throw you to the bus. There's no
so warm.
There's no like forgiving it. I think one of the most embarrassing moments, and it wasn't like it was that big of a deal, but I just know I messed up. It wasn't like that bad, but so we were at a when I was in high school, I did dance competitions. We'd have to travel different places, and I remember it was my parents with me and just me, and we had gone out to eat at this restaurant next to our hotel, and it was like this big steak place. Ooh. You know, like it reminded me of like a local like Texas Roadhouse kind of vibe, whatever, like kind of hoedowny, whatever.
A little bit of a Texas restaurant.
And I was a senior in high school, and so you have your like your typical like teenage self-consciousness, whatever.
Yeah.
And
thinking the world is looking at you and no one is.
100%. And so we were going through and we're debating on what you want to eat, and they bring you the salad, they bring you the buns, everything. And we're going around the table and we're ordering, and my mom's like, oh, I'll have like the 8-ounce steak. My dad's like, oh, it's 12. Whatever. And I was like, oh, I'll just have a 6 because I want these sides, right? And I got a salad and potato and a vegetable because I'm like, I'll just have a small steak, buns, all these extra things, right? And so, and then the waitress is like, 6, right? And I'm like, yeah, 6. It's like, okay, sounds good. So she writes it down, she leaves, and she double checked like 3 times.
6 ounce.
And I said 6 ounce. Yep. And so then I start eating, and my parents are staring at me. And I'm like, what is your problem? Because it was one of those moments where I was eating a bun, and they were like daggers on me. Like, why?
What is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you, you fat ass? Why are you eating? And I was like, what? And they're like, you have a lot of food coming. And I was like, well, I'm getting
a smaller steak.
I'm getting veggies and a salad and potato and only like a 6-ounce steak. And they're like, no. And I said, yeah, I ordered a 6-ounce steak. Like, no, you ordered a 16.
Oh my God.
You ordered a 16. I'm like, no, I didn't. No. I started crying immediately because in my head I was like, there's a reason why this lady asked me
so many times.
You
want a 16 steak. You want 2 of what your mom's getting. A side salad, a veggie, and a potato, and your parents are watching you eat a bun. And they're like, the fuck, Hannah?
And so we're like, I'm like, oh no, I don't want that. That's not what I want. And so we tried to flag down the waitress, and we're like, hey, I just wanted to confirm. And I like couldn't even speak. Like I was so embarrassed. My mom's like, I'm sorry, we just wanted to confirm. She said she wanted a 6-ounce steak, and the lady's like, oh no, 16. And I'm like, no, I don't want a 16. And she's like, oh, well, I can go look and see if they've like put it on the grill yet, and I can change it. And I'm like, oh yeah, like for sure. And of course my parents are like, no, because she's like, oh, I can just change it, we can like redo it. And they're like, oh no, like if it's already on the grill, like
don't bother.
Not a big deal, whatever. But if you haven't started it, like she wants the 6. And she's like, okay, sounds good. She walks back, and she comes, it's like a walk of shame. She's like, it's back to the table, and she's like, I'm sorry, like, they've already started, like, grilling it.
I feel like this is going to take 40 minutes.
16, and I'm like, oh, no. And so then I, like, put the bun back, whatever. My parents like, it's not a big deal. Like, you don't have to eat it all.
Excuse me. Do you know my grandmother?
Absolutely. They bring this plate out. It doesn't even fit on the plate. It's hanging over the side.
Oh.
Like 2 hands. She's having to carry this thing. It's so big. It was so bad. And then like with all the sides, there's no room in the table.
You're like, everybody somebody's eating something because I can't.
And they're just like, and the chef came out and was like, oh, I just wanted to check. Like, we haven't made one of these in a while.
They're like, you ordered it? And you in high school, I mean, like, you were thin.
I did not need a 60-ounce steak. I ate like the smallest little chunk of it, and I was so embarrassed. And she's like, oh, I'll go get you a box.
You're gonna have to bring 2.
And like, it's not a big deal. But
The chef to come out, that's really you think she was like, shit, you fired it. He's like, what's wrong? And she's like, well, that girl wanted a 6.
I was gonna see her. She's just like part of the dance team.
Oh.
I was like, and then I felt bad because I'm like, this is expensive.
Yeah, a 16-ounce steak.
Plus all the side.
That's why your parents were really shooting daggers. They're like, girl,
this girl just spent $50.
$50 steak and sides to
And
it.
then has the audacity to grab the bun with the cinnamon butter.
It's crazy. I love that you like so confidently every time heard 6.
100%. I was like, 6. And my parents were like, no, you ordered a 16. I'm like, no, I didn't.
No,
I ordered
I
a
said
6. And they're like, no, you didn't. And I was like, yes, I did. Starts crying.
Because you're like, no.
Because I don't, and it's like, again, not a big deal, but like, it felt like the end of the world. Like, well, they thought this fat ass
chunky bitch is gonna eat. Well, then, you know, again, as a teenager, you think the whole world's watching every move you make. And it's like,
you're not as
a
bringing up this
16-ounce
giant steak.
because you know she's walking by tables and they're doing what we all do, and you're like, Jesus, look at that.
And so,
You know, the whole restaurant was like, boom.
who ordered that
Look at
from
that.
like 6'5" man? No, the 5'3" shrimp in the corner.
The one who's crying at the table.
With their side salad and rolls. Yeah, that was one where it's like, I shouldn't freak out, but in the moment I felt like I wanted to be swallowed in.
The world could crumble down and end me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, those are great ones. If you guys have any, you know, embarrassing stories that you're comfortable sharing, want us to share on the podcast,
We can keep you anonymous.
we can keep you anonymous. Listen, we're not anonymous because I talked about farting publicly. So you can share whatever you want. Or if you just want to make us laugh and you don't want us to share it on the air, that would be great too.
Love that.
But we will see you guys all next week. It'll be May. So if you have any ideas for themes or things you want for us to cover, let us know.
Absolutely. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.